Up at Noon is brought to you by Thief. Pre-order today at GameStop.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Up at Noon. I'm Greg Miller. Now you right there. Are you ready for a post-apocalyptic show?
Yeah!
Oh, I was only asking the one kid, but no big deal. Up at Noon lead writer Brian Altano is here with tips you need to master the mobile hit Flappy Bird, and then Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley sit down with me to discuss The Last of Us and its brand new DLC Left Behind. But first, news you care about. Yeah! All right, so audience, we have to open on a very somber note. I have good news and bad news for you. Which do you want first?
Good news!
All right, the good news. There will not be a new Resident Evil movie this fall. Woo! We finally won one. Okay, are you ready for the bad news?
Woo! Yeah! Someone's morbid.
There will be a new Sonic the Hedgehog game in 2015. Thank you for playing Good News, Bad News, where there is no winner. Never a winner in Good News, Bad News. Facebook turned 10 years old this weekend to celebrate. The iconic social network created Facebook Movies, 60-second long videos highlighting all of the most important personal moments from your Facebook history. But sadly, one of our favorite people in the video game world never got his Facebook movie. So we here at Up at Noon decided to fix it. Thank you, Mario. Your princess will always be in this castle. And finally, with the highly addictive yet brutally challenging Fly Forever game Flappy Bird topping the charts of nearly every mobile device in the world, millions of people everywhere are going for the world record. But what strategies will put you in the lead? Our very own Brian Altano has you covered with the best ways to play Flappy Bird.
Whoa, what's up guys? It's Brian Altano, and get pumped, because this is the best way to play Flappy Bird. Step 1, grab your iPhone or Android device and download Flappy Bird. It's the #1 game on the store, so that means it's gotta be good, right? Step 2, take your phone and throw it right in the trash. Step 3, grab a handgun and empty a full clip directly into the Flappy Bird. And that's the best way to play Flappy Bird. For all your coverage of real video games, keep it locked to IGN.
Brian Altano, everybody. Give it up one more time. Man, I can't wait to see Brian's tips on real video games. Speaking of real video games, Greg Way, get out of here. My next guest made a real video game that won countless Game of the Year awards. Now they're here to talk about their new DLC, The Last of Us Left Behind. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley. As I live and breathe. I'm really loud when there's no one here. Neil. How are you?
Good.
Bruce. Greg, you're back. You're back. You guys have been on the Up at Noon before. You've never been on the real set.
Not in the studio.
This is the first time in studio, but still no audience. Why is there no audience, ladies and gentlemen? For this? Well, their game's not out yet. We want to make sure that we don't spoil it for you at home, where we can edit it, but we don't want to spoil it for the crowd either, and they can't edit their memories yet. We're getting there with the. Anyways, Last of Us, Left Behind. Let me be the first person to tell you, go to hell. Like, you're releasing it on Valentine's Day? Well, thanks. That was really nice of you guys. Like, you know,
I saw your girlfriend tweeted she's gonna play it with you.
Well, no, she's gonna be in New York. Those PlayStation bastards sending her away, which is good for me. But no, yeah, there's a lot of other people you've screwed over. You've ruined a lot of relationships. How does that feel?
No, pulls people
Bringing
together,
it together.
right?
No, it
People are
doesn't
going to
pull
sit on the couch next to each other and hold hands. One's going to get the direction pad, the other one's going to control the camera.
You're going for the
There's
even
love,
technique.
you know?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah. What is Left Behind all about? Other than breaking up happy families.
How dare you?
You know, we wanted to flesh out more of the story of The Last of Us. We felt like we kind of explored in the main campaign the event that brought Joel to who he is, and you don't really get to see that for Ellie. And we brainstormed a lot, and there's this kind of relationship between Ellie and Riley and the events that led to the main campaign. And we felt like there was a really kind of genuine story that touched on survival and the relationship and the bond and everything that kind of made the main campaign so powerful is in Left Behind.
And what's already out there is that, you know, it's a story of Ellie and you know, exploring what it's like in the QZ in Boston.
Quarantine zone.
Quarantine zone. Yeah,
those
that's
that
you know,
aren't in the know.
slang for quarantine zone.
I need that QZ ASAP,
And-
or I'm going AWOL.
Yeah. So then, what it's like inside of the military reform school, and you know, her adventure with Riley, a friend from the American Dreams comic that Faith Erin Hicks and Neil wrote together, and we're exploring that. Good story there.
Is there ever concern about doing too much that would doing too much that would then take away from what The Last of Us was for so many people? Right? I don't know if you know this. People enjoyed your game. It did pretty well. A lot of nominations for other stuff. You're lucky you didn't get up against this Flappy Birds because you would be dead in the water. People love that game. But no, it did really well last year in Game of the Year and just in people's hearts and minds. So you figure like American Dreams, right? Like a lot of times comic tie-ins to games, they're not that great, right? But you guys did well with that. I really enjoyed that story. And then you roll the dice again now, and you're like, now we'll do DLC that's set before that sets up the game that already. Is there concern on your part of ruining what you created, killing the baby in the crib?
Yes, I get. I mean, we talked.
Always.
We talked
Always.
about it, and it's like, but those are the stories that are worth telling, the ones that take risks. And we felt like, you know, if we played it safe, where we don't touch anything in the main campaign, then it's not a story worth telling. Versus here, it's really trying to flesh out who Ellie is and get you to understand why she made some of the decisions in the main campaign.
Gotcha.
And likewise, like paralleling the story, we had opportunities to explore some new tech with the combat that we didn't have in the single-player campaign, just due to time constraints and, you know, resources, team size that we had at the time. Like, we couldn't. So we found opportunities to get this. We have a multi-faction combat system that we've added here.
Right, you guys talked about it on the PlayStation blog, right? The fact that now you can you'll have environments where it is infected and it is just other survivors, and you need to pit them. You can pit them against.
You can. It's another strategy. That's
Right.
what we found intriguing. Is like now you can use your bricks and bottles not only to distract, but now to lure, you know, infected to humans. And then there's this kind of pitted battle between them that you're wondering. Like, there's some tension there because it kind of explodes on itself. Like, how is this going to play out?
And then you can try to skirt around them or engage them directly yourself with your guns or your arrows or whatever you have.
And then likewise on the contrary side of that is, you know, we wanted to see for ourselves, challenge ourselves for how can we build relationships in non-combative scenarios. So we really pushed the limits as far as you know, our own comfort zone in regards to what we can do on the downtime. Mm-hmm. So we've really explored a lot of cool little ideas we thought were interesting that could kind of, you know, build the bond between Riley and Ellie.
Can you talk about any of them, or the best experienced?
Well, I think they're
Cool
best
little
experience.
moments.
I think they're best experience. There's a lot of little surprises there. So I think, I think the fans will. We hope, right?
Yeah.
I know we're really.
And
proud
that's the
of it,
thing.
so.
It's like, how do you use mechanics to build a relationship? And you've played it. What did you think of it?
I liked it. You can hear all about it on February 14th. Podcast Beyond Spoilercast is going up. It's a video and an MP3. You play the game, and you get to come here. Colin and I talk to these guys, no hold barred, whatever we want to say about the game. And I say some things. So you should listen to that. But now I'm going back to playing dumb just about the game. And just like, so, I mean, you finished the game. Or, I don't know, the game goes gold, I guess.
You mean the development on the game?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, no, you didn't beat the game.
No, I've never played it myself, actually.
Yeah. So the game goes gold. The retail version, the disc is done. What was the next step for you guys then? Was it focusing on multiplayer, continuing to support that, work out the kinks there, or was it moving on to this DLC?
Well, first it was a multiplayer, but pretty soon after we finished, like Neil and I started kicking around ideas about what the opportunities for, like, first of all, is it even worth doing single-player DLC? Like,
Yes.
what does that even bring to the table? What do the fans expect? What does it mean for the studio? What does it mean for people who are burnt out over, like, a long, arduous journey making that campaign work? So there was a lot of deliberation around there, and we found, like, with the story we came upon, it was like, yeah, this seems pretty cool, and this is a neat opportunity, and yeah.
It's something like we've wanted to do for a while is to try our hand at single-player DLC. And like we finished Uncharted 1, we had some ideas for a train sequence. And we're like, oh, this would be a cool DLC. And then like, well, let's just fold it over to Uncharted 2. And here we just, the timing and everything and the resources we had worked right. And we had like an idea that we were really passionate about. So like, let's go for it and see what happens.
So then as creators, how did the ideas all come to be, right? Like there's the nut that's the game, I imagine, but then you had the comic book and now you have this DLC. Was it something you had painted out on like your bedroom wall with Post-it notes? Like this is the entire story you wanted to tell, but now only tell this portion here and this thing becomes this and da-da-da.
There's very few documents at Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
It's all oral history.
Oh, wow.
So
Ken Burns is going to get in there soon, do a documentary.
we would talk about the story, and we kind of knew like where the story would go and what elements are covered in the comic book versus the main campaign, and we knew we had that gap, so that seemed like an interesting place to go. And then we would brainstorm, okay, what's interesting about what can we learn that we didn't already know about these characters?
And it wasn't cut out from the single-player campaign. That campaign is exactly what we intended it to be, and so this is just a completely standalone thing we thought would be interesting to tell on its own. Like it stands up on its own, which we're proud of. Like you could literally just buy this on its own and be like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Except you have to have the disc.
Well, yes, you can't technically buy. Okay,
Literally,
gotcha.
you can't do that, but if you had the ability or the means, it would be okay. Speaking of, so there are a lot of April Fools out there who haven't played The Last of Us yet. Do you think they should play the DLC first, since it's the prequel, and then get into it, or does it make more sense to play through and go back?
Makes sense to play single player.
You have to play single player, or the first 5 seconds spoils a couple of pretty major things.
Well, there you go. That's how you should do that one. So, what's next for you guys? Where do you go from here? Do you breathe, or is it right back to the working?
Well, we have one more DLC drop, which is multiplayer. So the team's going to focus on that, and then for us, it's taking a break, relaxing. Like we've been doing this for 4 years now.
I was going to say it's been a long time.
Yeah.
You've been working on this one, so hence why I'm not asking them any other questions. This is all they've done. Let them breathe. Don't eat me alive in the comments.
But we did have good conversations last night over dinner about stuff.
Yeah?
We were kicking around stuff last night.
The Up at Noon game?
Yeah, the Up at
The Up
Noon
at
game.
Noon
That's
game.
exactly. How did you know?
You know what? I was there. I was your waiter.
We're
You
going
didn't know.
8-bit on this one.
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
Game over Greggy RPG.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry, guys. I know you're always waiting at Naughty Dog for, well, man, we can't keep making perfect 10 games. Here it is. The Game Over Greggy game, your first 6.1. Congratulations. So I guess that's good that you should sleep, but I think you should also probably make a Last of Us 2. I think you should do that. You gonna do that? You should do that. I can come to
What do you
breakfast
think,
tomorrow.
Bruce? Should we do Last of Us 2?
Come on, we're not going to do anything unless we like really find something compelling to do. So now,
Is that what it is for you guys now? It's not even about critical acclaim, kids talking about the story. It's you want to sit down now, decompress, I imagine,
Yeah.
and then come back with what do we want to tell?
there's a lot of figuring out like where we're at as far as like our own sort of relationship with games and the experiences that we've delivered, learning from our own mistakes, trying to figure out team sizes, things. Like there's a lot of things to discuss to actually make it happen, let alone where our passions lie. So
And as far as like these storytelling philosophies of how you tell stories with gameplay, like how do we push that forward? And is that the right genre to do it in?
Yeah.
again, we played with a lot of things just inside the Left Behind that kind of definitely pushed us beyond our comfort zone. But for us, it was really intriguing to go like, okay, well, there's some really cool
branching
opportunities
dialogue.
here.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't, do you?
Mm.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, The Last of Us Left Behind comes out this Friday, February 14th. Say goodbye to your loved ones. They're jerks. Guys, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks,
Thank you.
over, Greggy.
Next time you have a new game come by again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's Last
Now
of Us
that
2.
we've seen the studio,
Yeah, well,
it's
yeah.
okay. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, you don't. It's all right. It meets your high quality standards. The graphics are all right here.
I def.
7.9 out of
Oh, 7.9 out of 10. You can go to hell. Sometimes I make them kiss. Thank you to Brian Altano, Neil Druckmann, Bruce Straley, and you, my audience. They've been through a lot today. It's raining. If you want to be in that audience, go.ign.com/up at noon for details. As always, Brian and I will be responding to comments the first hour this video is live, so come tell us your favorite Left Behind moment. Mine is when Ellie dies and is replaced by a robot. Maybe I'm joking, maybe I'm not. Well, play the DLC. February 14th. We'll be back next Monday at noon, but until then, I'm going back to bed. DaveFenoy.com.